Biker Dad is brought to you by Noel Leonard, Biker Lawyer. Hi, my name is Chris Best, and a couple years ago I told my boss, take this job and shove it. I quit my job, jumped on a motorcycle, and never looked back. And this week that adventure brings me here to, well, the intro to adventure. We are in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. Spent a blistering couple of days out in the heat and the sun learning how to ride, and now we're in the desert at night where it's getting freezing cold. That's where we start this week's episode of the Biker Dad TV show, so let's roll. Have you ever sat at your job and thought, what if I just got up and left? Tell that horrible boss to take this job and shove it. Have you ever wanted to just walk out? What about burnout? Well, that's exactly what I did, but I didn't just quit. I left my 25-year corporate career to ride motorcycles and tell your story. Daytona Beach, Florida, where you can actually drive onto the beach. Rick Fairless, a legend of his own, introduced me to Richard Rollins, Mayfield, Kentucky. Southeast Missouri, beautiful city of Knoxville, Tennessee. Gulf Coast of Mississippi, the Florida coast and the Tampa Bay area, Orange County Choppers, Roadhouse and Museum, talking to Paul Tuttle Sr. himself. But make no mistake, this is not a show about motorcycles or even about me. Instead, I travel across the country to meet the people who use their passion for motorcycles to make their communities stronger, safer, and better. This is Biker Dad. My name is Chris. I'm from Alabama. A couple of years ago, I quit my job during COVID and started basically riding motorcycles for a living. I host and produce a TV show about motorcycles and do marketing videos and content for people. And yes, I hate the word, but for lack of a better term, I'm an influencer in the motorcycle community. I'm shooting videos all weekend. Good.
My name is Michael Movies. I won't talk as long as Chris.
Sorry.
I actually didn't start riding at all till COVID, so just 5 years ago, sort of a midlife crisis thing. Even though I'd always wanted to learn, so my wife and I took the class, and I loved it, and bought a Honda Shadow, and a year later bought a Harley Road King 2022. So I ride that a lot, as much as I can around Atlanta. Like you said, I'm an injury lawyer and want to do more in the motorcycle community. I'm also retired Air Force.
I am Stephanie Pye, and first of all, thank you guys all for coming and for trusting us with your journey. And I always tell Jim, I'm like, we want to be like sugar to you guys. We want you to come here, get on the bike, and then get addicted.
My name's Andy Lehman, and I have been here with Stephanie and Jim at Rawhyde. I'm starting my 8th year. I started with Robert. My background is I rode a lot of dirt bikes, and around 2000, maybe a little before that, started riding dual sport bikes. And then I rode a lot of dual sport bikes.
Hi everybody, my name is Chris Zern. I am a senior coach here at Rawhyde. This will be 2025, I think is my 14th year with Jim. I started exactly where you guys are. I was riding forest service roads and always dumping my bike on the same kind of obstacles. Figured out if I can dump it consistently, maybe I can learn to ride it consistently.
So I'm Robert Montero. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I joined the military when I was young, so I did 22 years active duty. So I will be your medic on site.
Thank you for choosing Rawhyde. Let's take care of you.
Well, we're just a few minutes into this. It's definitely a challenge. I'm already a little winded.
Yeah.
Michael Movies, my friend from Movies Law. And we've done a couple of exercises where you got to stand up on the bike, and then we just walked around and held it up with 2 fingers. I've got an injured shoulder, so it was a little tough, but Michael handled it like a champ, and we're just having a really good time. And like I said, I'm a little out of breath, so it's a good workout as well. Since I've been eating like a pig this week and not getting any exercise, it's a good time to get a little bit of workout.
Let's see how Chris, Gary, Jim, Michael, Brian, Jake.
West Side Story.
Okay, West Side Story. Maria, okay. See that's what I need. This is a way more physical sport than most people think. As you guys know that. We're gonna get around here a little bit of a semicircle. We're gonna do some stretching and your forearms, hold that a little bit. And then the other way. Back on your left hand or right or whatever. Then I stretch my shoulders by pulling this one back, but when you have your gear on, it's kind of hard, but you can still feel it. Maybe we want to do it a little bit, stretching these out a little bit. And anytime you guys want to interrupt me, ask a question, have at it. Just, okay. We stretched enough?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. If you will help me, the hardest part of picking up a bike is at the very beginning, so there is an advantage to a bike like this. And first thing you do is, if you can, reach over, shut this thing off. Let's see if it's in gear. We don't want it to roll away down a hill because there's a little bit of a hill, so we don't want it to roll away. So we turn it on, the bike is in first gear, so we're good. It's not going to roll away. So you can turn that back off. Get in a position like this. You're going to grab the bar like this and pull it back to so it's up against the stop. Pull it here. You're going to get your legs at a 90. Your butt is at the top of the seat, so you kind of have a good saddle position. And there. And you're going to lift your head up and look up, and that keeps your back straighter so you won't hurt your back. And you're not going to, your arms are kind of locked, and then you just start taking little steps backwards to do it. The drill going down, we're going to be in first gear. You're going to stand and you're going to weight and unweight off the pegs like that. Then after you feel pretty comfortable with that, you're going to pick up one leg a lot, all the way up. And when we get down there, we're going to add a little bit more to it.
Loud, but just tell me what you think so far.
So far, it's been good exercise, like you said. We did an exercise where we lifted one leg and held it over the other side of the bike, kind of swung it over while riding, which is sort of like doing a split squat. So
Yeah.
like a quad workout but it disrupts the balance of the bike, so you have to learn to adjust with your arms. But it's been a lot of fun so far. I've never ridden in the dirt before today, so I've really...
So we're in day 2 of this, about halfway through. It's almost lunchtime, and I will tell you, this thing is a workout. You're not sitting on a motorcycle all day, you're standing up all day doing pretty strenuous exercises, including right now we're practicing starting on a steep hill.
Okay guys, so we're gonna load up. We're gonna practice weighting and unweighting the pegs going down, and then we're gonna be careful getting on the road, going down. We're gonna shift up, shift down, shift up, shift down, come around, come back up, and then we'll come right back up. I'm gonna meet up in here. if you see you kept your speed up, kept the bike in the right position, standing up in the right body position. There's nobody got out of shape. You just rolled right up it. We're gonna ride around a little bit up here. There's little trails we'll ride, and we'll come back down this and go the opposite way. And then there's a figure eight, and we'll try to do some figure eights. See how that goes. So you guys are dumb enough to keep going with me, is that what
I reckon.
If people are done, I can be done, but I can't even cross the country ride motorcycles. Biker Dad is brought to you by Noel Leonard, biker lawyer.
Stock Harley pipes, quiet as a mouse. Harley Hydroglide Revival. It's number 1465 out of 750 that were made. So the Hydroglide was made up until about 58, 59. It was the first bike that featured what they called the beer can fork, that super suspension fork. It actually went from the Hydroglide. They kept the same bike, but when they added a rear suspension, they called it the Dual Glide. And I believe that was 59 that they did that. Anyway, in 2024, they did a revival of the Hydroglide. Kind of strange because it has a suspension in the back and it's got the great suspension in the forks there. Biker Dad and I are going to raffle this bike off to raise money for good causes. And the best causes that I know of often involve veterans, and when we can, they often involve animals. So we've been working with equine therapy group up in Stapleton. We're going to start working with some new groups who train service dogs for injured vets, not only to our brothers and sisters who served, who need our help now, but also, you know, I'm a dog lover, I'm a horse lover. My wife grew up in Tucson. She's a horse person. We're just doing what we can to give back to the community. So look for that in the coming months. We're going to give away this puppy. There's less than 500 miles on it right now. Love this bike. It's a collector's item. I'm just not a collector, and I think it's going to do more good if I can raise some money with a raffle and get that money to places that are going to help folks who need it just a whole lot more than I do.
So we've been here 2 days training at Rawhyde Adventure Camp, but now it's time to take the show on the road and take everything we've learned out into the Mojave Desert. We're going to ride a couple hundred miles from here at Castaic Lake area and Rawhyde right into the desert and spend the night camping out there.
Enduro Pro mode.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Well, here we are on day 2 of a ride through the Mojave. I thought the asphalt was going to be the easy part, and it was a sphincter clincher too. It seemed like 70, 80 mile per hour crosswinds and leaning into the wind the whole time.
Can y'all hear me? Cool. So we're gonna head up and make our way to Burrow Schmidt's tunnel. The first leg of it is right here, Mesquite Canyon Road. So as you can see, there's like loose stuff, gravelly stuff, right? What you'll find on here is there's like little bank turns with lots of gravel, right? So when you see those turns, best thing to do, kick it down a notch to slow down, and then come into them, use the banks that are there. And if you're going to use the banks, make sure you're on the gas as well, so it carries you all the way through the bank, right?
Yeah, day 2, we're out here in the Mojave, and the road is just too bad. We were going to go up to see, I think, the pinnacles here, but the road is just too bad. I think it's even beyond some of the skill level of the more seasoned riders who are used to this stuff. And it's certainly been a workout for me already. Just like 15 minutes into the dirt part of this ride and sweating all over the place. So we're gonna go hit some tarmac, I think, again.
Murphy's Law. Something as silly as not even a wreck, just a tip over. So Michael was here, maybe lost balance or whatever. The bike was leaning enough to tip over, and unfortunately it tipped over in the place where there was a large rock here, and it poked a hole in the valve cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw them here and just stopped at an awkward angle. Yeah.
And then I saw you, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna slow down to help. And then I lost control because I tried to slow down. So that was a little bit of a domino effect.
Does anybody have a napkin or a crappy microfiber on there?
I got a napkin.
If you go ahead and clean this up as best you can, this is steel stick, right? You'll see once I get a piece off, gray on the outside and it's gonna be black on the inside. That's the two components, just like the epoxy stuff we've all learned as kids. 1 shot, 2 shot mix, they activate and now they work. This is the same concept, except it's like putty form.
There's plenty of sand to go around.
Exactly. So I'm gonna give you that so you can take a look at it.
Putting it on there.
You want it to be the right size, and then you want to pack it in. So it goes in enough that it kind of almost like mushrooms on the other side, and then kind of holds on.
So that, does this need to be replaced or is it good?
It'll get us out of here. It'll need to be replaced when we get back. We'll give it a minute, let the oil come out of this cylinder and back into the other, and we'll check. By the way, those 2 plugs I put in my rear tire at camp, not lost an ounce of air. Yeah, they're good.
Everybody, I'm Noel Leonard, biker lawyer. If you've been injured in an automobile or especially a motorcycle accident, I hope you know who I am. If you injure someone who's riding a motorcycle, I don't give a damn if you know who I am. Your insurance company sure knows who I am, and I'm coming for both of you. Please give me a call. I'm easy to find, happy to take care of you.
Hi there, this is Chris Best, the Biker Dad. I'm just here to let you know that myself and the hundreds of thousands of people who follow us on social media and watch the TV show are here to help. Do you need help with something? Give me a call. That's my number right there, 251-402-6392. Especially if you need legal help, I have an army of lawyers across the country who can help you with injuries after motorcycle crashes especially, but other stuff like crime and everything else too. So give me a call, 251-402-6392.
Your home for Lex and Terry in the morning rocks your workday with AC/DC. Shine down. And Offspring. You gotta keep them separated. Available on over 2,000 smart devices. The Gulf Coast Rock Station, TK101.
Biker Dad's on TV every week right here, but where we got our start really was the Facebook page. There are over 300,000 of you following us there. Please go like our Facebook page and you'll keep up to date on everything from my rides to my quirky little weird things I do every day and get a lot of funny memes while you're at it. In fact, a lot of people come for the memes. So go check out TV Biker Dad on Facebook. You know, when you're out adventure riding, you need to expect the unexpected, and sometimes that is really rough stuff, like my friend Michael Movis dealing with his windshield being destroyed and then leaking oil when he smashed into the rock.
I got to go airborne.
What?
I went airborne.
Oh no!
Yeah, I bounced off one and hit the other berm and flipped.
Oh.
So I lost my windshield.
Oh no. Are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably be sore tomorrow.
I have one right here.
I would definitely do that. Would someone like to say a few words? I'm so glad you're okay. Remember like what I said in the briefing, I'll wait a couple of minutes, and if you guys don't come, I know I'm coming back.
Yeah. Michael, what happened there? Just say it loud.
Lost control in the sand, hit that left berm, and then you see my track where I, like a pinball, bounced off that side, went here, and then I went airborne.
If you
Flew over the handlebars. So, I'm okay.
I'm glad you're good though. I'm glad you're okay.
Dad, this is just a gold blue thing.
It's gonna look great. I'm gonna start selling that on eBay.
And I'm thinking if we take these off,
Let's screw this cardboard out. You get your replacement parts on Temu. Looks really good. Yeah. That's the best outcome that you could possibly have right there.
reminds me of Bristol Motor Speedway. All the rubbing in that NASCAR race.
Rubbing is racing.
And they coat it with duct tape. So that the stain yards.
All right, my friends. Feels nice to be 60 degrees, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Feels good. Can y'all hear me? Cool. So we're gonna head up and make our way to Burrow Schmidt's tunnel. So let's tell you the story about the madman who dug this tunnel out. This guy's name is William H. Schmidt, and he was born in 1874 in a small suburb of Providence, Rhode Island called Woonsocket. And history shows one of two things happened. Now, Burrow Schmidt had like 5 siblings, and I've seen 2 different versions of what brought him out west. The first version was he had tuberculosis, which back in those early days they called consumption, if you've ever heard that term. He had tuberculosis and the doctor said you better go where the air is dry, so he came out west. The other story was his siblings were getting tuberculosis and the doctor said, if you want to lessen your likelihood of getting it, head out west where the air is much drier. That brought him out here. He was a jack of all trades and he spent his summers in the Kern Valley working as a ranch hand and doing odd jobs and things like that. This would have been 1899. He's like, what, 24, 25, something like that. And at the time, there were about 1,000 people on the El Paso Mountains, and it was all made up of small mining camps. Tons of different claims and everybody's kind of doing their thing. He was talking to these people as he moved up here. They were saying, you know, it's such a pain in the butt because when we pull ore out of the ground, we have to take our burrows all the way around to get down into the basin. That's the one that you saw the dry lake on our right as we were coming here. That's where the train is, and they had to go around. Anywho, so he starts out, he saved up his money in the summers, and he spent the cooler months in the winter working 12-hour days doing this stuff. And actually, his nickname of Burrow Schmidt was not because he was burrowing like a mole. It's because he had 2 burros named Jack and Jenny, and those were his sole companions. People often say, you know, was he here for the mining or was he just obsessive and started it and just had to finish? Dig, 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 he did. And this is about a half mile long, many, many years. He spent 38 years digging this thing. He never completed it. 38 years came and went. All those mom and pop miners, the whole mining spur craziness, it subsided. So not 1 ounce of ore ever came through here to get down into the valley. He finally finished, and certainly enough, there was no one left that needed to move ore through here, right? The mining came and went.
Biker Dad is brought to you by Noel Leonard, biker lawyer.
Stock Harley pipes, quiet as a mouse. Harley Hydroglide Revival. It's number 1465 out of 750 that that were made. So the Hydroglide was made up until about 58, 59. It was the first bike that featured what they called the beer can fork, that super suspension fork. It actually went from the Hydroglide. They kept the same bike, but when they added a rear suspension, they called it the Dual Glide. And I believe that was 59 that they did that. Anyway, in 2024, they did a revival of the Hydroglide. Kind of strange because it has a suspension in the back and it's got the great suspension in the forks there. The biker dad and I are going to raffle this bike off to raise money for good causes, and the best causes that I know of often involve veterans, and when we can, they often involve animals. So we've been working with an equine therapy group up in Stapleton. We're going to start working with some new groups who train service dogs for injured vets, not only to our brothers and sisters who served, who need our help now, but also, you know, I'm a dog lover, I'm a horse lover. My wife grew up in Tucson. She's a horse person. We're just doing what we can to give back to the community. So look for that in the coming months. We're going to give away this puppy. There's less than 500 miles on it right now. Love this bike. It's a collector's item. I'm just not a collector, and I think it's going to do more good if I can raise some money with a raffle and get that money to places that are going to help folks who need it just a whole lot more than I do.
One of the coolest things about Southern California is it's dotted with these little ghost towns, and this one's called Randsburg. It's actually a living ghost town. People actually do still run businesses here, but pretty much only on the weekends. During the rest of the week, it's as ghost town as it gets.
1800s, they found a rich vein of gold in the hills above Randsburg here. This created a boom, and the yellow aster mine was sprung up. So it started with gold. It eventually dried up, and the towns began to die until a tungsten strike hit. It occurred in Atolia, and they used in those days tungsten to fortify munitions for World War II. And then when they went to importing tungsten, the demand for tungsten fell dramatically. When things started looking bad again, then they discovered silver. And the Kelly Silver Mine kept this area on the map, and Red Mountain was established. Red Mountain is right near Randsburg and Johannesburg. In 1912, Calvin Harrison Riffle arrived with a penchant for business. So this Slim Riffle comes into town. He built pool halls in Atolia and Red Mountain, and it was a front for gambling and illegal booze making. Not a lot of law enforcement out here, but Slim had a really good pulse on that. So when the sheriffs were coming, he had all the gamblers going down into these mining tunnels to hide out. And then the sheriffs would see, you know, nothing to see here, guys. I don't know why you're here. And the sheriffs would hang around, look around, leave, and then pull the people back out of the tunnels and go back to having fun.
That's it for this week's episode of the Biker Dad TV show, coming to you from the Mojave Desert and Rawhyde Adventure riding camp. I love my Harley Davidsons, but I fell in love with adventure riding, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a whole lot more of it in my future. In fact, I'm sure I'll be back here at Rawhyde as well. And if you are interested in this, just hit me up or go to Rawhyde. That's Rawhyde, Rawhyde. Until next time, please look twice for motorcycles.